Welcome to Redditman, your daily dose of Reddit ranting. Today's unpopular opinion is, broccoli is absolutely delicious and versatile enough to be added to a variety of dishes. I have never understood the hatred people have for broccoli. I've always loved it. It's very tasty, has a great texture and looks pretty cool. The nutrition is just an added bonus. I used to hate broccoli until I learned to cook and realized my parents had been cooking the living shit out of it all my life. Spinach is also a victim of this. Bitter mush poisons the minds of children, and they grow up hating good things. Oh, definitely, that's another one I used to hate until I had it cooked nicely. I also love fresh spinach as a salad base, and as the calming ingredient in a fruit smoothie. Spinach is versatile as fuck. Every vegetable in my childhood was bitter mush, boiled so hard and long that it all turned yellow pretty much. Such a waste. This is how my mom cooked veggies. She also baked plain chicken in the oven till it was dry. I spent most of my early 20s eating fast food because I thought home-cooked food was gross. Thankfully I've since learned to cook and I'm rediscovering food. How the fuck do you cook veggies? What's weird is when people take on their parents' traditions. I worked with a guy who always brought a boiled chicken breast, plain rice, and a boiled-to-hell vegetable for lunch every day. Weird thing was he loved Nando's, but refused to buy the sauce or barbecue his chicken, even though he would often barbecue for dinner in the summer. I love broccoli and Brussels sprouts, oven roasted for life, but I had a single parent that couldn't cook for shit, so I discovered my love of both once I moved out and went to college and was able to cook for myself. Your flavor perception also changes a lot as you age. You become less sensitive to bitter greens in particular, and more able to appreciate complex flavor profiles because one strong flavor doesn't just blow everything else away. There's a reason kids like simple, salty and sweet food. It's because they are unable to appreciate the subtlety of more complex dishes, which end up just tasting bland to them. In fairness, cooking the fuck out of broccoli can turn it into a pretty delicious pasta sauce. Wait until they set up the pressure cooker. That thing is the spawn of culinary hell. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts and other cruciferous veggies are, IMO, best blasted at high heat in the oven or on a skillet for a short amount of time. You def want some caramelization and crispness on the outside while retaining the texture inside. Plus cruciferous veggies often have sulfur compounds that become more prominent the longer they are cooked, which leads to the burnt fart flavor we remember from our youth. My dad cooks the absolute crap out of red meat and I never knew that's not how it was supposed to be done until I got a part-time job at a restaurant as a teenager and got to try properly cooked beef and lamb for the first time. It really gave me a new appreciation for food. Brussels sprouts taste of farts. If you were born in the 80s, it makes sense because back then everyone was terrified of salmonella. The fresh, local, organic movement hasn't really started. I roasted broccoli for Mother's Day and it blew my mom's mind for some reason. Of course it's better than that steamed garbage with salt, Mom. It is worth the effort to put a little extra care into things 99% of the time. Boiled in shallow water is good too, if you keep it in the water. All the flavor leaches out. Cooking for shorter amounts of time is too hard. The broccoli was too hard as it didn't have the texture of bread that had been left to soak in water for 3 hours. I eat like 4 heads of roasted broccoli a week. That shit is garlicy crack. Oh definitely. It's a delicate balance. Also, you have to stay away from frozen broccoli whenever possible. At the very least it's been blanched and there is just no way to make it as good as freshly steamed or roasted broccoli. I have been keeping some around more recently due to the food shortages, though, just to be safe. My husband's gran used to serve it with almost every meal boiled and bland. I always said if you can eat it through a straw, it's overdone. There's nothing nicer than well-cooked, still some crunch with lashings of garlic butter. I 100% agree with this. Growing up, my father was an excellent cook, so my favorite food was always broccoli. How could it not be? It showed up in every dish and was always amazing with everything. My friends thought I was crazy until they came over and had some stir-fry, or mac and cheese casserole, or literally any other dish involving broccoli. I remember the first time I had broccoli on pizza, I was floored by how amazing it was compared to that olive drab mush tree my parents forced on me as a child. It actually makes me sad every time I have to eat dinner my parents prepared. Like I started pretending I was on a diet and made prep meals before I go over. I had broccoli at a restaurant and I was amazed by how great it tasted, perfect texture, and it was spiced to perfection. Same. My mom only knew the steam it to death, drench it in cheese WHZ recipe that grossed me out as a kid. Absolute game changer when you bake broccoli. I would eat steamed broccoli for years from my grandma and tolerate eating it. But drizzle some olive oil, salt, pepper and garlic powder, bake for 15-ish minutes and that shit is out of this world. I love my broccoli to have a little crunch, but it kills my boyfriend's stomach, so I cook it a little extra for him. Exactly, the biggest problem with vegetables isn't to do with the vegetable itself, most folks just can't cook them worth a damn. As an adult who taught themselves to cook, I've definitely discovered that broccoli was just a poor abused vegetable that deserves so much love. Since I started cooking myself, broccoli is my absolute fave. How is this opinion unpopular? Beats me. I can't get past the taste of it, I've tried so many times. Good broccoli is heavenly. Bad broccoli needs to be in a hazardous materials recycling plant. I like it overcooked. I can eat that shit every day. I've always cooked with the philosophy of any veggie you can eat raw can never be undercooked. Seriously, when I learned to roast broccoli instead of steaming the ever-loving shit out of it, I never looked back. My mom used to cook the shit out of veggies when I was a kid, especially broccoli and spinach. I hated them both. Once I grew up and learned how to cook, I discovered that I still hate broccoli even though it's just lightly steamed. Fuck broccoli, it's disgusting. Love spinach though. And yet they say, the dang millennials can't even cook anymore. No you mom. Hee. Yes. Can we talk about the stupidity that is overcooking vegetables to mush that turned off more than one generation of children? Finally. Something we can all bond over. Except that one kid, yeah, you know who you are. Veggie mush loving weirdo. This. I thought I hated all vegetables, particularly broccoli, until I left home and realized that my mother cooked all vegetables to slime. I love broccoli now, raw, sautéed with garlic, and so many other ways. I've been neutral to broccoli until I mastered the broccoli pie. With blue cheese, olives, walnuts, awesome. Roasted broccoli is one of the best things ever. I swear I've perfected the art of roasted broccoli. Do the usual toss on olive oil, sprinkle with salt, and throw in the oven at like 400. The key is to 1. Space them out on the tray so they don't steam, 2. Put them on the bottom shelf of the oven, no tin foil or anything between the brux and the sheet, 3. And use convect if you've got it. That'll give you crispy, delicious broccoli every time. Same, Alton Brown and Good Eats saved broccoli for me. Like, you can roast it, and add things besides yellow cheese to it for flavor. Madness. Do you have any good recipes for broccoli? I've never cooked it, but honestly this whole post is making me want to. This is a huge part of broccoli being either wonderful or terrible. The objective fact, and I can't stress enough that this is science and not merely opinion, is that it's not possible with our current technology and understanding of cooking physics to cook both the floret and the stem, each to correct doneness if mixed together. You can have perfectly done floret crowns and busted ass undercooked stems that you have to chew like a wild goat, completely throwing off the texture of the dish. Or you can have stems cooked just to the right point of soft yet flavorful and florets that are an annihilated mush falling apart and mixing into everything on the plate like so many broken dreams. You can't have it both ways, and the sooner people acknowledge that, the sooner we can all move forward as a species and elevate our vegetable life. Brew. Peel the stems. Slice them about 5 mm thick. Cook them together with the florets, and they are done at the same time. It's not rocket surgery or science, lol. Where I grew up, you didn't get broccoli until I was much older when the economy opened up. But I remember watching Powerpuff Girls and wondering why TF everyone hated this goddamn vegetable in the cartoon. They literally had an entire episode where the kids were forced to eat the broccoli monsters to defeat them. But I remember eating it for the first time after having been brought up by American television in a developing nation, and I can honestly say that I still don't understand why it's so hated. It ended up being my favorite vegetable. In my country broccoli it's not that hated, it's an American thing. There was a whole spat caused by President H.W. Bush because he said that when he was growing up, his mom said the only way he wouldn't have to eat his broccoli was if he became president. So now, he doesn't eat it since he's president. Was probably just meant to be a funny joke, but the broccoli growers of America got pissed about it and he had to apologize. Wow, this is the first I've heard of people hating it. I thought every kid loved pretending to be a dinosaur eating trees when eating broccoli. Bang on. Although I've seen a general popular opinion that broccoli is horrible. Never knew where that came from. Steaming broccoli is the best way to serve it if you do it right. Add a dash of pepper and you're in business. This is the petty hill I've apparently chosen to die on tonight, ha 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 ha. Broccoli is the only veggie that I don't like. It just smells and tastes like the juice from garbage that has been left outside on a hot summer day. But if you enjoy it, more power to you. This is correct. Parents have to work hard to convince their kids that cottage cheese is an airplane landing on an aircraft carrier or some shit, but with broccoli you just tell those little idiots that they're brachiosauruses and they'll mow it down all day. The farts are your problem, and your fault. Okay, you found the one true problem of broccoli, the gas. Tears of joy. If I visit my parents and cook for them, I usually avoid it for that very reason. Beano helps, a little, but OMG. Leave before it has time to ferment. I never realized that broccoli is fart power.